Fassel Dunn, and welcome to Broad Appeal, a show about boss women and queen bees who are writing and living by their own rules. So today we are interviewing Ashley Mason, and Ashley launched her social media consulting business, Dash of Social, in college. So Dash of Social provides social media marketing and search engine optimization services to female-owned, service-based businesses to help them amplify their online presence and gain leads. And we all want leads, right, ladies? So welcome, Ashley.
Thank you, Melissa.
So you're in your senior year of college, and can you tell us more about where you go and what you're studying?
Yes, so I am a senior at Stonehill College in Easton, and I'm studying marketing.
Nice. All right, so did you go into college studying marketing? Because some people sort of like switch around here and there. Or did you know what you were going to major in when you got there?
So when I entered Stonehill, I was a marketing major all along, but for the longest time I thought I was going to be an accounting major. So
there
I
you
made
go.
a very big switch.
There you go. That is a big switch. Okay, so you got started with all of this digital marketing stuff at age 15, right?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So when I was 15, I started a fashion and lifestyle blog called Lily and Lemons, and basically it just kind of talked about my life as a high school sophomore. And so I grew my blog organically through social media. And as I grew it organically, I started to get the opportunity to work with a lot of smaller companies doing sponsored content. So I'd attend press events, they'd send me products to review, they'd pay me to write about their company on my blog and all that stuff. And
nice.
So I realized with these companies that they were only focusing on influencer marketing, which is partnering with bloggers and online influencers to kind of get the word out about their company or their
And in your
product.
case, a 15-year-old online influencer,
yeah.
which is amazing.
And so I realized that was their only strategy, but because I was able to grow my blog through social media, I knew how important it was as not only for a blogger, but also businesses. And since I realized that most of these companies weren't utilizing social media, I offered to do some type of pro bono service where I would work with them to give them basically free marketing services in exchange for kind of like a testimonial and experience.
Right, and you could hone your skills as well while
exactly.
you're doing that learning sort of on the job.
Right, and so once I got more comfortable with it and started to see results, I ended up doing freelancing and eventually establishing Dash of Social.
Which is incredible. So you prefer to work with female-owned businesses. So
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why?
I think that I just feel more of a connection to women in a sense, and I think that they often get overlooked, and so they don't really, people don't necessarily think that women-owned businesses are bound to be as successful as maybe men's could be. And so I think just knowing that I have such a vital role in helping them to grow their businesses and continue to keep moving forward is really, I guess, fulfilling.
Right, I totally get it. So why is it so important for a business to have a social media presence? I mean, do you really need one?
Yes, well in this day and age, everyone is online, which is really important. And so how many times do you think where people go to Milton Neighbors looking to hire someone for any type of business, or even just Facebook is one of the biggest outlets that people look for when hiring some type of contractor or business or anything like that. So just having a really solid social media presence can help to reach so many more people, especially if you're an online business where you can work with people all over the country or the world. You have the ability to reach a much larger audience.
Right, right, totally. And do you think also it sort of makes you look outdated if you don't have a social media presence as a small business? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think it kind of depends on the nature of the business, so maybe the industry or what exactly your intentions are with it. But I think it's more beneficial to do it anyway and create social media accounts even if you're not necessarily using them like all the time.
Right. I totally agree with you. So what is, so speaking of small businesses with or without social media presence, what is the biggest mistake you've seen in social media, like that a business maybe has made, a faux pas, that sort of thing? What are the biggest mistakes?
So I think a lot of people, what they happen to do is they use their personal accounts for their businesses. So
you see that all the time. Yeah,
yes.
Like Bob's cleaning service, and yeah, it's bizarre.
Right, and so I think just having a differentiation between the two really helps to kind of set you aside as a business, especially because your like personal social media accounts, your friends on Facebook, they're not your target market. So it's kind of really doing you harm if you're marketing your services on your personal Facebook account, because chances of your friends buying from you is kind of slim to none.
Right. So you just mentioned a target market. What's a target market?
Target market is the group of people that are your ideal customers. So it really kind of goes into the demographics that they have. So maybe you know their age, location, what their income is, anything that really kind of describes their characteristic and kind of creating that perfect persona of who you would love to work with in your business.
All right, gotcha. So when you are putting your social media presence out there, you really want to focus on that target market instead of kind of going super beyond the market and almost wasting your time, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So can you give us an example of a small business with an outstanding social media strategy?
I would say not necessarily a small business, but I really love Lululemon. I think they have a very grassroots marketing approach, which is really awesome because a common misconception that people have is they think that you need to spend a ton of money on marketing, which in reality, social media is free. It only costs money if you're paying for ads. So Lululemon, they have a really empowering message across their social media platforms, which I think is really vital and definitely resonates with their target market.
So what's their powerful message? I'm just curious. I haven't checked it out.
Well, I know on Twitter a lot, they do a lot of like meaningful quotes that focus on overall like health, wellness, and well-being, and so it's just really inspirational. And so like sometimes I'll be scrolling through like my Twitter feed and I'm like, oh wow, like I really like that quote.
Yeah,
and so
that's
it just
nice.
it just kind of really goes in the back of your mind and something you remember.
Gotcha. Okay. So say I'm a small business and I have a basic website but no social media, and I know that I need it, but I don't have this massive budget, which is what you had mentioned just a second ago. Where do I start? What would be a good place for me to start?
I would say Facebook, just because that's where the majority of users are anyway. Like that's the most popular social media platform.
Still, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'd recommend definitely creating a Facebook page and therefore kind of building it from there. So whether you're really optimizing your bio to make sure people know what your business is, making sure that you have had your cover photo and profile image and doing consistent posts. Facebook is definitely a good place to start. And then once you get more comfortable with it, you can move on to other social media platforms.
So what so for Facebook, and once I have my Facebook, what would be your like second choice for moving on?
I would say Instagram, just because that's, well, it's owned by Facebook, and
Right.
it's one of the most popular platforms as well, especially if you're a type of company that uses a lot of visual content, like for example, salons. I work with a few of them.
Yep.
So
Like a restaurant.
Restaurants. I work with a lot of photographers on Instagram. So especially if your business is more on the creative side, so to speak, Instagram is definitely a good platform to utilize.
Okay. So speaking of like photos and other types of content, how do I put good content on my platforms? What's good content?
So it all really kind of goes back to your target market and knowing what their interests are. So that's why it's so important to know the type of people that you want to be reaching, because the more information you know about them, the better the content that you can write. So for example, if you know that your target market loves to do yoga, then you can find a whole bunch of articles online about different like yoga techniques or anything revolving around that, because then you know that it's something that your audience is going to resonate with.
Okay, so what if I don't really know who my target market is? How do I find out?
I think it kind of goes down to doing some inner searching. So I personally find that specifically with solo entrepreneurs, one thing that I realized is that their target market is tends to be someone who's kind of close to them with personality. So I've noticed that the women that I worked with, they all are like me in some type of way, and so it's kind of basically just thinking about, if you were to find the perfect person to work with, what are the characteristics that you would use to describe them?
So your ideal client.
Yes.
Also. All right. Okay. Gotcha. So what if a business list, now a lot of business lists they start with their email list. Like they might have a collection, either kind of old school, could be an Excel spreadsheet that they've just been keeping, or it's haphazard, but they can get it together. So say I have a list of like 300 people, clients, former clients, and I know I should be doing something with it, but I don't know what to do. What do I do? So a lot of people will say it like, email list is king, that sort of thing. So if it's king, what do I do with the king?
So I recommend definitely sending out at least one email newsletter per month, and if you're unsure of what to do in terms of content, I say always go back to tips. So think about issues that your target market faces. So maybe there's a common problem, like for example, a common problem people face with my business is that they just don't even know how to get started on social media. So one thing that I do with my email newsletters is I'll kind of create content that revolves around that. So giving them tips on how they can create social media platforms and write good content and reach their ideal customers and all of that stuff.
And how much time does it take, you know, to have a social media presence? Is, you know, a lot of people who, like you say, are solopreneurs. They do everything on their own. How much time does it take to really establish that presence and keep it going, would you say?
I would say if you're really consistent about it, it can take at least 5 hours a week, just in terms of actually writing the content, posting it, engaging with people on the platforms, and responding to all the comments and messages that you get. It can take a good amount of time, but it definitely has a good return.
So what if I don't have 5 hours? Then what do I do? But I want social media.
I would say outsource at that point.
Okay, so you can outsource your social media to someone like you, to a social media management type of a resource, right?
Right.
And so if you were getting started with a new client, I mean, what would you do? What would be step number one? Okay, they have no social media, they have no time. How do you get started with them?
So the first thing that I do is I send out this, what I call a client intake questionnaire. It basically asks about 10 questions, I think, about them and their business. So it'll say, who's your target market? What services do you provide? How would you describe your brand's tone and voice? What are the interests of your target market? A whole bunch of different things. So using their answers to that questionnaire, plus my own research, I'll build out an entire social media strategy that basically says, off of that information, what we'll be doing on their social media platforms over the next 90 days or so of working together. And I'll kind of give an overview of what's going to happen. And then once that strategy is all set, then we go into the actual managing part where I'm writing the content for them, posting for them, engaging, responding to comments, and all of that stuff.
So theoretically, someone could want their social media presence and just really outsource almost the entire thing so that they didn't have to deal with it.
Yes.
Because a lot of us, we don't have an extra 5 hours. A lot of people just don't have the extra 5 hours.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't even get started. Because it's just like, I don't have an extra minute. You know?
That's one of the most common things that I hear from my target market is that they just simply don't have the time.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. There's business owners just tend to wear so many hats, and it's like, wait, you want me to wear that hat too? Are you kidding me? So what is your favorite tool to make social media easier? So going back, you know, I decided I have the 5 hours, and I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna take the plunge. What's a tool or tools that can make it easier for me?
So one tool that I really love, it's called Viral Tag. It's a social media scheduler, but basically it makes my life a million times easier because when
Wait, time out. You can schedule your social media?
Yes. And
Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, definitely.
And then go back to Viral Tag? Okay.
So one of the greatest things about social media is that you don't have to do it all in real time. You can schedule content in advance using special software so that it gets posted for you on your designated days and times. And that's one thing that I definitely recommend to help you save time is because not everyone has the time of the day to be like, wait a second, I need to post on Twitter.
Exactly.
So having it in a queue that's getting sent out over time is really beneficial. And Viral Tag is one of the tools that allows you to do that, where you can schedule content in advance. So I use it for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. They have so many different...
Almost everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
That you can use it for. And so I'll just write my post every Sunday at the beginning of the week and plan it out for a full week for myself and all my clients. And then I don't have to worry about finding time each day to be posting for everyone.
Right, which is great because then you can manage everything else just a little bit better. And then also, I think the great thing about that is if someone wants to pop in and be like, oh, you know, this is something interesting, I'm going to tweet it really quickly, they can do that too. It's not like you're beholden just to the scheduler.
Right.
So now, what else do you offer? So what other kind of things do you offer in your service? So it's social media consulting, anything else that you do?
Yes, so I have an awesome team member. Her name is Rachel, so she does search engine optimization for my clients. And basically search engine optimization, also known as SEO, is the strategy that you need to do on the back end of your website in order to show up further on Google when people search certain keywords.
Okay, so that's how you get yourself to be a little bit higher up. And
yes.
So can you talk about, are there any tools that sort of the average business owner could use to help themselves with search engine optimization or finding out what the tags are, or is it just too complicated?
Well, there's a few different plugins. If you have a WordPress website,
Okay.
Yoast SEO is really helpful, especially if you're writing articles or blog posts or anything. It really helps you to kind of focus on meta tags and focus keywords and everything like that. And then also Google Analytics, because you can see where your traffic is coming from and kind of the demographics of your website visitors.
So with Google Analytics, what do you look for in Google Analytics? What would I be looking for if do I install it? Like, do I just go to Google and are the analytics there, or?
It's something that you have to set up with your website, so you have to kind of do it with your domain and everything.
So you have to have a website first?
Yes, you have to have a website. But with Google Analytics, my favorite thing to look at is really what people search when they're going to Google and how they're kind of finding my website from there. Because then I kind of take what people are searching and incorporate it into the content on my website. So that way when people are searching a certain keyword, my content is hopefully showing up.
Right. Awesome. Fantastic. So how can people find you? Like, say, we've got a lot of ladies out there that, definitely could use either help with their social media presence that already exists, or, setting it up from start to finish. So how can people reach you?
So my website is dashofsocial.com, and then my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram is dashofsocial.
So you're one of those people that were able to set everything up as Dash of Social, which some of us really struggle with.
Yes, it was a sign from the universe that was meant to be my business name.
All right. It's so easy, Dash of Social.
Yes.
All right, that's fantastic. So now we are going to take a second to make a quick cocktail, take a break, and we'll be back with Ashley for a quick tip after that. Hey everybody, we are taking a break, and today we're going to make an almond horchata. And this is a great drink to have on a cold day. So what we have here is 2 ounces of Irish cream, 3/4 of a cup of almond milk, about 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and this is 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And I actually make my vanilla. It's sliced vanilla beans, and you can either use vodka or rum or bourbon. And it's absolutely delicious if you let it, just slice it up, put your alcohol of choice in there, and let it sit for a couple months, and it's just wonderful. So this is super easy. In here I have about 1/4 teaspoon or so of honey. So we're just gonna add the Irish cream, and some Irish cream is actually almond flavored. So if you wanna add a little bit more almond, you can get the almond flavored Irish cream. We're gonna add the almond milk, the little bit of cinnamon, and a little bit of the homemade vanilla. And we're just gonna shake this up. It smells delicious already. Hopefully I can get the cap off. Just strain it into a glass of your choice. I like this glass because it's fancy. And I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of nutmeg. Beautiful. Cheers. Oh, that's delicious. Hope you enjoyed this treat. Come back again for more.
If you're looking for an easy way to organize your everyday to-do list, I highly recommend using Trello. Trello is a free project management tool that allows you to organize your to-do list not only for every single day, but also throughout the week. It has a few different features that I absolutely love, such as boards, which are different subcategories of your overall Trello software, and then it also has lists. So with lists, I organize it by day, and so within each list is what they call cards, and each card is basically a task. So it's really awesome to be able to see my tasks, not only for each day that I need to do, but also have a week's glance. They also allow you to basically label the type of task, so I can label it as a social media task, an admin task, an occurring task, anything like that that really helps me to basically be super organized. And so for anyone who's type A like me, I highly recommend using a tool like that.
So I'm type A, so I think I need this tool because that sounds amazing. And my Google Calendar is like,
yes.
like exploding with all my tasks and also things I actually have to, go to, appointments. So that sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to check that out. So thank you so much for coming on today. And everybody, if you want to, check out Dash of Social, you can find Ashley on dashofsocial.com, Twitter at Dash of Social, Instagram at Dash of Social, Facebook at Dash of Social. I think that's it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and for more information and for some of our cocktail recipes, go to broadappealtv.com.